people were playing cards. I got a little interested, but mainly for like the free food and the free TV time.
I learned bridge for the free food.
Yeah. That was why I originally was interested. It's like, we got to go out to dinner every night, and I got to not.
Okay. Your hair looks amazing. I'm here today with the Miniter team, and Gillian, can you tell me a little bit about how you got into bridge?
I've been playing competitive bridge now for about 10 years. I got into it really just because my grandparents played every day when they were older, and they were both really smart, and I just couldn't understand what it could be with the game that kept them going back day after day. I was always a little curious and always wanted to learn. One of the clubs I belonged to had a class one time, and I took the class with a friend, and we were just hooked immediately. We really, really liked it. At the beginning, I didn't have a lot of time to play because I had young kids. I was the president of a board for the Central Park Conservancy. But as my term ended, I had more time, and my kids were a little older. They were in school all day, and I started to play a little bit more at the club and just afternoon games. Just coincidentally, I was introduced by a friend to Joe when he moved back to New York. We just started to play at the club. I was a total beginner. We hit it off, and that's how I met Johnny. I just loved the game. We would talk, and they'd say, you really have to go to tournaments. You would really love tournaments. I would say, 3 hours of bridge is enough for me. I would never play tournaments. They'd say, well, there's a great one in Atlanta over Labor Day or here or there. And I'd say, well, I would never go to Atlanta over Labor Day. I would never do this. I would never do that. Fast forward 10 years later, and I'm a total addict. I go to Atlanta over Labor Day. I love all the tournaments. I have I got very lucky in that by meeting Joe and meeting Johnny, I met two of the best bridge players in the world who also happened to be young and
she didn't
fun.
meet you
I haven't met you
later.
yet. I hadn't met you yet.
You haven't lived until you play with Geoff.
Yes, exactly. I got very lucky, and they just taught me the game in a different way, and they made it fun. And I met Geoff early on, and yeah.
Still recovering.
Yeah, still recovering, but they're great guys. They're fun to be with, but they're just elite bridge players, and they just play the game in a different way from other people. They see different things, and it's just exciting to play with them. It's exciting to team up with them. Yeah. That's how it started, and it's ongoing. We travel many times a year, and we go to Europe. We come to these California tournaments. Sometimes
We're here in Monterey.
Here we are in Monterey. Yep,
And
this is
you've
one of
been
our
coming
favorites.
How many years now?
This is my 10th year, would be my 10th year if it hadn't been canceled for the pandemic. I started 2016 was the first time I ever hired a team. This is one of our favorite tournaments. This year has not been quite as successful as most, but we have one more day to win.
No one asked you about the success of this tournament.
Exactly.
The tournament this year, though, there's a lot of people here.
Yes, it's up a lot from last year. It was always successful and slowed down with the pandemic, but I think it's back now.
You guys have all been to Monterey before and many other tournaments. What are some of your favorite tournaments around the country?
I'll let them answer in a second, but we go to Biarritz most summers, me, Johnny, and Gillian. I don't know if Geoff has been to Biarritz. We've gone to Madeira. We go to South America every year. Like most of my friends that don't play bridge, like all three of them, they basically think that I go to a nursing home and just beat up on old people. But that's really not what it is. It's much different than that. That was like 20 years ago. Now
it's a sport.
No, I know, I'm teasing. But it's a highly competitive sport where you're playing. The best players in the world are all in their 30s, 40s, 50s. Some of them have aged into their 60s and are still at the top of the game. We travel a lot around the United States, a lot of good cities here. But I think Gillian would say she enjoys traveling out of the country more if it's a fun place. We've been to Sweden, like I said, Madeira, Portugal, went to Buenos Aires, went to Cali, Colombia. We'd like to go to Chile if they'll ever have the South Americans down there.
Yeah, I'm dying to go to Santiago.
We're probably end up going to Copenhagen soon. Like lots of good places.
Poland.
We're going to Poland.
We like Poland.
Yeah,
We like Poland.
Why are you guys going to Poland?
This summer, it's going to be the Europeans. We were there for the World Championship. That was I think it was the first World Championship after the pandemic, right?
It's European Championships. coming up.
But when we went,
That was the second World
Was that the
Championships
second one?
after they,
Yeah.
but the
Okay.
first one was a bit of a mess.
2020.
That was the first one that wasn't a
that
mess.
was in Italy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so,
Yeah, so this is the European Open Championships.
this summer. Yeah.
Right.
But who would have guessed I'd be going back to Poland for the second time in 4 years or something?
But you get to go to Barcelona first.
Actually,
True.
Poland,
Yeah.
I was surprised at
I
how
liked it,
nice
yeah.
the two cities in
Yeah.
Poland that I spent real time in really
Yeah,
were
no,
great cities.
It was.
Wrocław
great.
and Poznan.
And where is it? What city is it this year?
Posen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Tell us what are your favorite tournaments? What got you into bridge?
For me, it was a teacher trying to divert me and my classmates from being troublemakers.
Naughty.
Exactly. He taught us all how to play bridge, and then somehow one of my brainier friends said, you know that they play this version of bridge where everybody has like the same hands at separate tables. And nerdy young me thought, well, that's ingenious because I'm tired of getting these terrible hands and losing to you clowns. This will even things out. The idea is that rather than having to score more points based on the quality of the cards that you get a hand and somebody else is going to hold that same hand and you have to do better than that somebody else. It's a lot more fair than just dealing out 4 hands and seeing who comes up with the highest score. It's a lot more, and I think it's a lot more fun because, you know, now you have other people who encountered similar problems that you encountered, maybe exactly the same problems. And there's different ways to solve these problems, which is endlessly fascinating. It's what makes bridge better than any other game. I sort of think there are a lot of guys I know that play hearts and play spades and play euchre or canasta. They all play cards, but they haven't quite really applied themselves to get into bridge. And with a little bit of effort, they'd find that it was worth learning because it is by far, hands down, the best game.
Yeah.
How did you
absolutely.
start, Joe?
I was playing poker, backgammon, bridge. I played poker and backgammon before I learned bridge, but I started when I was about 13. I think I was at a big bridge tournament my parents played. Both of my parents' families played. And so that's naturally how you start playing. It's very unlikely you start playing bridge if nobody in your family plays. Like, it's, how are you going to learn? Like, it's very
Except
unlikely.
Geoff did.
Tracy did. It's in Geoff, but it's so unlikely.
Only 40% of the people in the room.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to become more and more.
Yes, because
right?
yes.
Yeah, we kind of almost skipped a generation.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting excited.
I think actually,
like
yeah.
you come to these tournaments, we're starting to see people like our age that are starting to empty.
I think BBO will
I
actually
have a lot of friends learning bridge now, a lot.
BBO will help. BBO will actually help that, and getting it into like a version that's even easier to play than BBO on your phone
Well,
to
also
learn
some
how to
of
play,
these
like a simple
apps.
version to learn how to play. There are little apps out there,
Tricky bridge, I think, is
Yeah,
one of them.
like-
a lot of people
like things like that.
a
You
lot
need
of
to get
people
them
like that.
into it, and then like my friends that don't play bridge, like I have poker player friends. Some of them I haven't spoken to in over 10 years, but back when I played poker, they were very interested in poker. Like Justin Bonomo, in bridge. They were very interested in learning like Roman, Yitzkavi, like famous poker players. They wanted to play. I played with them at the bridge club. It was, they played bridge like they play poker. They kept, bid, and then double, basically at every hand. But it's interesting to them. So people like that, they probably won't actually play bridge for another 20 years. But,
Now we have to get Johnny. We've got to get Johnny's story.
How did you
Johnny sounds exactly like his brother on the phone.
I got started because my father would very rarely go to bridge tournaments, but I was about 11 and he was leaving for a bridge tournament and I got on my mother's bad side. I needed to escape the house. I told my dad I would go with him to the bridge tournament.
Run away from home.
No. I played cards with my father, but like gin and whatever,
Until he got there.
stuff like that. I never had played bridge, never had any interest in bridge, just couldn't imagine playing bridge. We went to this tournament. It happened to be a week-long tournament. Got to watch TV kind of whenever I wanted because there was my brother and my mother weren't there. We went out for dinner every night. That was nice. So, a change from home, and people were playing cards. I got a little interested, but mainly for like the free food and the free TV time.
I learned bridge for the free food.
Yeah. That was why I originally was interested. It's like, we got to go out to dinner every night and I got to not have to fight people over the TV.
Did you watch Dad play?
I did.
Early tournaments.
I did. The
Well,
first.
You commit somebody else though a lot.
Well, so the first tournament I was watching my father, and it was a pair game. And at some point, a pair came and sat down to play against him. And my father said to me, this guy over here is a very, very good player. He, maybe is the best player. It was Geoff Mextroth.
Oh.
They play this round, and at the time, Mech was a smoker. But he was dummy on the second board, and he was playing, I don't remember with who, but it was a sponsor. And he got up, and he was unhappy with the contract. He got up and left the table to go smoke, and I got to play the best player in the world's dummy. That seemed pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was the dummy, and my father and his partner proceeded to blow like 3 tricks on defense.
Did you notice?
No, I had no idea.
No.
But Mextroth comes back to the table and asks, how did we do? And I was very proud. I was like, making 3, like I didn't really know what it meant, but everyone seemed making 3. But my dad was like, yeah, we should have beat that at least 2 tricks. Mextroth at that tournament actually was very nice to me. I wound up watching him several more times. That also sort of like hooked me, this idea that because I knew my dad was a good bridge player, but not, by any means like world championship level. And he was getting to play against the world champion. That was pretty cool when I was a kid. So that was sort of how I got started. I started just kind of going to more tournaments, played a lot of kitchen bridge with my dad. That's kind of how I learned.
How did you guys get involved with like the USBF? And then you're Canadian, right, Geoff? So you were the Canadian Bridge Federation.
Yeah.
So how did you guys eventually?
For me, I was 11 when I started, but I didn't really play for about a year and a half. I was around 16 or 17, and we would see these in the daily bulletin. We would see, or the bulletins that would come every month. We would see like advertisements occasionally for like a junior tournament or a junior camp, which is typically under 26 and under. My father contacted someone at the acbl to find me a partner for a junior trials to determine our representative for the Junior World Championships in 1996, I think, when I was.
How did you do?
When I was 7. Our team did okay at the tournament. It's best that we did not qualify for the World Championships because we would not have done well. It was a fun kind of first event, and I got to meet a lot of other juniors that would go on to continue bridge and would become lifelong friends. Exactly. Yeah. I had no junior partner, but a couple years later, I started playing with Joel Wooldridge, and we played as junior partners for several years and wound up, along with Joe and a couple other guys, winning a couple junior world championships. So that was how I got my start. Geoff?
Yeah. How old were you guys? And then where was the switch that got you really into the game? Like I always tell people, like you have to kind of give yourself a year at least to get your feet wet. It takes
16.
a little while.
16. I mean,
So
if you say when you were
playing at 16?
I started when I was 13, but like when I was 16, you have a bunch of people that you play with and they're all like, wow, you did that really fast. Like I didn't even understand what was happening. Like you're going to be really good someday. You don't really think that. You just say, oh, that's nice. And then everybody keeps on saying the same thing.
It is sort of fun. Bridge is a problem-solving game, and you don't really know what the problems are to start out. And then once you sort of learn the patterns of the basic plays and, you learn establishing winners and taking finesses, and then you start to learn more advanced plays like timing of the play. Those are the things that start to become really exciting. The light bulb goes off in your head and you're like, wow, this is really neat. When you start to execute super advanced plays like squeezes and end plays, which your more advanced players might understand, you get really excited that you executed a hand brilliantly. Like the way that, I don't know, it would be like, I would equate it to like getting an eagle for a professional golfer on a golf course. When you play hands at that level, it's really exciting and rare and special. So that sort of sets the hook for you. And when you're young and you realize that you're doing things as a fairly new player at a level that these people who've been playing for 40 years and are considered spectacular can't actually achieve, you start to think, wow, this is really nice. This is exciting. Finding something that you're that good at. So that was sort of what set the hook for me when I was in college. I could be going to classes and doing worse than some of my classmates in literally every subject. Or I could be playing bridge at the club or at some sectionals or regionals and doing things better than everybody else in my chair. that was much more satisfying, and it was hard to go back to school after that. That was
sure.
the end of university for me.
Especially once you realized you could get paid to do something you loved.
Yeah, and while I was failing out of university, one of my lifelong friends, Fred Gittleman, who invented BBO, was saying, you know, some people actually make a living playing bridge. I'm like, get the hell out of here. Somebody would pay me to go do what I would do for free all day, every day, you know, just give me a deck of cards. He's like, no, for real, you could make a living playing bridge. When I started, there was not a huge market for professional players, but people like the mentioned Geoff and other truly world-class players were making a living in bridge going around to tournaments. When I sort of started into that community, I was getting a little bit of money from the sponsor to play as a fifth member of these pro teams. And that got me the opportunity to play with guys like Geoff Maxtroth, Lynn Dees, Michael Seaman, other truly sensational players from back then. And that was what really took my game from a good amateur to a real, you know, skilled professional. And the learning never stops. The more you play, the more you see. The more you play with great players like these guys, you see different perspectives. There's a lot of different ways to solve problems. Just because I do it one way, he does it another, and he does it a third way, doesn't mean one of us is wrong. It's just got to suit your style or your memory or your partnership. And it's really fun. There are a lot of moving parts, totally. Some people can remember endless lines of code and just remember every page of a 1,000-page system document. Other people can just recognize from the behaviors around them what's going on in a particular hand and do something special to really punish what they think is happening around them. And that's, you know, a different skill set. Similarly valuable. Some people have incredible bidding judgment. Some people have fantastic defensive skills. They're amazing. The game has so many levels that it's fantastic that you could be the best in one area and close in other areas, and somebody else is the best in another area. Some guys have great short games. Some great guys are great off the tee. It's similar in bridge that you could be good in one area, less good in another, and still excel.
And then professional bridge players, some of them are really good with clients, and some of them are really
more
good
like me.
when they're playing with another professional player and super solid.
The other thing about bridge that's interesting is that it can be a game really of mistakes. Even at the
Very
highest
much.
level, they can misguess a hand or they can make a mistake also. So it's
Well,
not...
It can be even
Because sometimes when
it
you're...
can be even more
Right.
blatant than that.
When you're...
It's
when
even more of that. It's a game of mistakes at every level. It's just at a low level, people make 20 mistakes every hand.
Well, that's what I'm
At
saying,
a high
because
level,
a lot
every
of this
player
is
at
for
the table
newer
probably makes 2
players.
mistakes throughout each hand.
Right, and
You know.
but newer players make mistakes,
just
and
don't
they
cost
think
everything.
the experts don't make mistakes. And,
Yeah.
and the truth is, everybody makes mistakes, and that's kind of what makes this game exciting. No
Yeah.
matter how good you are or how smart you are, you're not going to be perfect all the time. Nobody
Absolutely.
is.
The other thing that sort of allows you to reach your level in bridge is that if you are, say, socially awkward or, say, socially terrible, it's going to be hard
Like
to make a
many
living
bridge
in
players.
bridge because people aren't going to want to be around all that time. Like when you go to a tournament with somebody, you spend a lot of time with those people. You got to enjoy them or they're not going to be around that long.
That is true. My teams are all fun.
Fun and
I have all the best players, but it's only the fun ones.
the most fun, good players.
It's true.
That like to go to dinner.
Yeah. You do spend a lot of time together. We all travel together. We have dinner together every night, pretty much. And we play together, but we're also really good friends. And that, I think you need that.
Well, you'd never choose to spend like 50 hours, 60 hours in a week with the same people unless you enjoyed them.
Right.
So other jobs...
Or you get paid a
just get what
lot,
you
but
get.
you know.
So what
I
is-
like to think you enjoy being on my team.
so
Well, that's why we
something
do
that
whatever you
people-
want first before other people.
What is something that people might not know about you? Gillian, you want to start?
About them or about me?
She
Well, I
loves to
think-
make reservations
yeah,
at
I think
dinner
everybody knows that about
and then
me.
change them at the last moment. So,
Sorry.
I like to go out to eat. That
You
is
can name
true.
something about me. It's okay.
No, I like to go out to eat. I love to go to restaurants, and I do a lot of research. That is one of the things. That's one of the things I like when we travel is we go to places where they have great restaurants and fun cities and all of that. But I tend to change the reservations. I tend to decide, no, this one sounds better. That one sounds better. They make fun of me because they'll say, "Where are we going this week?" And I'll say, "Don't tell us because I know you're going to change it."
We
So-
will have.
but I
12
always
reservations
cancel-
over
Oh,
there.
So give me 2 restaurants. Which
Yeah.
one do you think looks better?
Yeah,
I won't
but
look at them.
I
said,
don't. I do
I don't
not
know,
make
the
multiple
first one.
reservations and
Doesn't
not
matter.
cancel or anything like that. I just change my mind and make a different reservation. I make sure to be considerate of the restaurant always. Something about them. Let's see that you wouldn't know.
Johnny, what's something
Yeah.
we wouldn't know about you?
A hidden talent or
I got nothing.
Johnny makes a lot of money on the sports betting.
The IRS doesn't know that.
Johnny, what was your degree?
I actually have a Bachelor of Science in Geology.
Everybody must
Yeah.
get stoned.
No, it was,
No,
Yes.
what was the
Yes,
thing
exactly.
about rocks the other day that we're like, what is
it was about the moon.
Yeah.
It was the moon.
Some rocks I could help you out with. Other stuff, maybe not so much.
and Geoff?
What's my surprise? Oh, that I have a famous family in music. My mother and father were both known musicians in Canada when I was a younger person, and my mother has sold a huge number of records in a band called Sharon, Lois, and Bram. Children's music. I mean, I had a happy childhood. I don't know that that was necessarily why. Yeah.
I mean, but like
Singing around the house.
We grew up in a musical house, that's for sure. Lots of sports and lots of music. Joe, what's your secret?
Well, no, I have no secrets.
I was going to say that's the other thing is all these guys, they love all their sports. When we go to the tournaments, they're playing paddle, they're playing pickleball, they're playing golf, especially golf when they can arrange that.
Yeah, we play golf a lot, Jeff and
are
I.
you guys playing golf here in Monterey?
Yes,
They
we
did.
played. We played
came
before.
early so they could play golf, and
I say that I live a retired
friends
life. I
here.
play every racket sport and I play golf. I work at Bridge so I can play golf. That's basically it. That's my secret.
I have a silly.
and my husband says that he works so he can pay Joe Grue.
That's true.
Okay, last little things that I do these for like TikTok. There is a zombie apocalypse, and the zombies are coming for you. What bridge skill is going to save you?
Logic, but that's the same in Bridge.
I think that logic is really the overriding skill that Bridge provides.
Pretty sure that you're just gonna die.
Bridge players can't run.
Yeah.
No, the spades are 3-2. It's not gonna help much in a zombie
You don't have to-
apocalypse.
Isn't it the same as when you're with like a lion? You don't have to run fast.
It's a
You don't
bear.
have to- You don't have to run
Bear.
bear. You don't have to run fast. You just have to run faster than whoever you shove with the ground.
Exactly. Right.
Either kid or-
Yeah, you don't need bridge for that skill. But
At the World Championships, what is it? Simon said the dentist coup, because if you pull their teeth out, they can't do anything.
Bridge really is the best game, and everybody should learn it. It's really true. It's just so much fun, and you can do it anywhere, and you meet interesting people. You can go to great places. You don't have to play tournaments. You can just play at the local club. You can play online, but it's just a great game. It's a game. I always say it's a game for smart people. It's a game for smart people, and sometimes you feel dumb, but it really is. You have to be smart to play bridge.
Adam Sandler.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
I learned bridge for the free food.
yeah, pretty sure that you're just gonna die.
She loves to make reservations
Yeah,
at
I think
dinner
everybody knows that about
and then
me.
change them at the last moment.